just on time. Let's get started. Now, you've either clicked on this video for one of two reasons. One, you want to know why some random boy on the internet is preaching about the magical powers of meditation. And two, you want to see more of me and my fluffy hair. After all, I am a rising star on YouTube and could possibly use a deep conditioning treatment. If you could not tell, that was me hinting for you to click the like button. Oh, don't worry, I'll wait. Did you do it? Okay, cool. Let's proceed. Before we get deep into all the ways that 30 minutes of daily meditation has helped me pull the anxiety and depression demons out of my inner soul, I must first provide a backstory so you can see exactly what led me to the point of choosing to start meditation. Picture it, Sicily, Oregon, November 2019. I'm getting ready for work when all of a sudden an overwhelming feeling, other than my crippling depression at the time, came over me. And that thought was, hey, I should drive to Canada today and start a new life. Wait, that was a different time. This urge was simply a strong feeling to take a new route to work, and I thought, sure, why not? It's not like I have anything else going on. Little did I know, this would be the first step into a snowball effect that has led me to the person you see here today. While in the car on my way to work, I decided to turn off the radio, mainly because I was having a possible anxiety attack. To calm my anxiety, I just tried to focus on my breathing. Breathe in, breathe out. Don't crash the car. Breathe in, breathe out. Don't crash. And while doing this breathing exercise, I started to hear something we know as our inner dialogue. However, it was very weird to hear it while I was driving, because that's the type of dialogue that most of us suppress, and we only hear a little bit of it, right before you fall asleep. It's kind of like the feeling you would get if you saw your teacher in the grocery store on like a Saturday at 10 a.m. Like, you both know each other, but the timing and the place, everything's just off, and it's just weird, right? Like, I remember seeing my teacher in the grocery store once and I was like,
you exist outside of school?
So for that 45-minute drive, all I basically did was listen to the screams of my inner creative being who has been suppressed by the mundane work of corporate America and a lot of wine and emotional eating. First I thought, this is why I can't be in a quiet car. And then I was like, I feel like this is why people meditate. Maybe I should start meditating. For all the complex thoughts that you and me both have, it's really weird to me that it took 22 years for my mind to finally be like, maybe you should start meditating. All the people that told you to do it seem to be a lot happier than you. So you know what? That was the day I decided to start tackling these little demons inside my brain. So that very night, I got ready for bed 30 minutes earlier, lit a little incense, believe she was lotus eucalyptus, sat on my bed and just literally sat there in silence for the first time. At that time, I wasn't really familiar with exactly how to go about meditation. Honestly, all the prior knowledge that I had at that time was gained from watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. And if you have not seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, you should go watch it, it's really good. So yeah, I took exactly what I learned from Avatar to do that first meditation session. Surprisingly, I retained a lot about meditation from that show. To my surprise though, that 30 minutes of forced silence led to the juiciest adult cry session I've ever had. And I know what you're thinking. Wow, Tristan actually has emotions? I know, really weird, right? But thankfully, I'm back to being the unbothered alien that I really am. The reason I experienced such a high influx of emotions was honestly because I was hearing my inner self from an entirely different angle, and that came with a flood of both positive and negative emotions, and I feel like the only way my body knew how to cope with it at the time was in the form of human eyeball waterfalls. And that night, oh my god, I slept the best I had in months, maybe even years. It was the first night that I actually went to sleep without having all of those internal what ifs, like the what if I said this that one time to my friend in 5th grade instead of what I actually said, or what if I did this differently when I was 12? Literally, it's like, why does it matter? Does anyone else have that? And because of how well I slept that first night, I just knew that I needed to start doing that every day. You know, minus the human eye waterfalls, because that was not a good time. So for the following days in that initial week of daily meditation, I was doing 30 minutes before bed every night. And over the course of, I would say, a few days, I finally started to figure out how to process my incoming thoughts and try to keep my mind clear, because that's the type of meditation I wanted to do. I wanted to do a forced silence with a little bit of internal processing. So I was making sure that if any thoughts or ideas came forward, if they were negative, I was reminding myself that they no longer serve me and ensuring that I could let them go. And if they were positive, productive thoughts and ideas, I wanted to make sure I was nurturing those to ensure that they stay in my mind. So now I'd like to touch a little bit on how the meditation has changed me since that very first day. The first thing I would like to mention is our subconscious occupies more space in our mind than our consciousness does. So from the very beginning, I knew that I needed to work on nurturing myself, nurturing my mind, to ensure that the new information I was giving myself would actually be retained and that I also believed what I was absorbing. So an example of what I'm talking about is limiting beliefs. So if you're not familiar with what a limiting belief is, to put it very simply, it's like how some people have a belief around earning money, or what do you think of when you think of a billionaire? You'll have like an instant thought, an instant reaction to an idea like that, and that's a belief that you have internally. Now, you could have formed that opinion yourself, or it could be a belief that was the opinion that your family members had when you were younger. And retraining your mind for limiting beliefs is very essential in my opinion, because, for example, if you tell yourself you're going to be rich and famous, you can say that every breathing moment of your awake day. But the moment you fall asleep, your mind could have a totally different opinion. It's one of those things that's like, you're not going to progress unless your conscious and your subconscious are on the same page. Additionally, since that first day of meditation, I feel like I've learned a lot about myself, what my core values are, what I really want out of my life. It's really astonishing because it feels like I've grown and learned so much more about myself in the past, what has it been, like 8 months, than I have in the last 5 years. I think just sitting in silence for anybody can help them better understand what they're really craving in their lives. We always want to do something externally to make ourselves feel better, and in a way that can temporarily, but there's always something deep down that is waiting to be heard, honestly. And once you're getting to that point where you're actually hearing yourself, I think it can have profound change on yourself, how you're living your life, how you're treating the people around you. You at least have, I guess, a more stable structure of what your core desires really are. It's really hard to understand exactly what your desires are in the 21st century. Let me tell you, as a person who has spent the better part of 20 of my 23 years on this earth surrounded by media, I for a very long time didn't understand what I really wanted, because I was being attacked with marketing, advertising. It's basically, I was being told what I wanted instead of me actually figuring out what I wanted. And it's a very tough place to be in, because I have a feeling that past generations, past centuries of people, while they probably experienced a little bit of not really knowing what they wanted, we are in a time where we're exposed to so much of, you should do this, you should be this person, that we forget to step back and really think about what we want. You know, what do I want to do? What do you want to do? Not what the commercial told you want to do, not what your friend told you you should do. What do you actually want to do. That, everyone, was the very compressed story on how I became the person that now meditates for 30 minutes every day. If you were to only take one piece of advice from this video, I would suggest taking the advice to take inspired action. And I say that because if I didn't take the action on that very first day that made me want to start doing this, I have a very strong feeling that I would not be on YouTube and that my reality would be very different than what it is today. And all of this was made possible by a boy in need who decided to take inspired action to better himself, and for that, I will never forget that very first day. Wow, I was getting real serious for a second. Okay, let's end this on a higher note. What I want to know from you guys is, if you have started meditating, I want to know what one thing you have noticed change very quickly since you started. And if you haven't started meditation yet, but you're thinking of doing it after watching this video, once you do, I would love for you to come back and let me know what you experienced during your first session. Okay, so with all of this being said, I will see you down in the comment section below. All right, goodbye.